Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're actually going to be talking about Hedera Hashgraph. I do want to talk to you guys about a few things that has actually been coming up a little bit on my Twitter feed, because I think that it's fairly interesting to comment on again. I know it's with the USD stuff, and I know that we've been hearing about it for a while, but it's not the idea of that announcement being significant. It's about who actually reposted that is significant. So with that being said, let's talk about what's happened throughout the market. We are up about 2.09%. We'll most likely continue ranging on a little bit here. Most altcoins aren't too green right now, but if we do go to the 24-hour span, we do see that Hbar is actually the number 2 runner on the top 100 list, breaking up to about 39 cents. And the main reason behind this is most likely the Bitcoin price chart for it, and we're going to be addressing that, going to talk about it a little bit as well. So overall, things look fairly good throughout the market, especially for Hbar. I think the trading volume has, kind of alleviated a little bit. We're almost flatlined on it at about 0.52%. But we have made some leeway. I mean, on the daily spend, we went from 35 cents all the way up to, 39, almost 40 cents exact. So, things have been looking fairly good for Hbar, and I'm fairly happy with the current price action on it, and we'll talk more about that in a later video. But I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about this. We do see here this comes from Hyperledger themselves in an hour. Now, this already happened, just so you guys know, but we do see here join a discussion with guys in Burger West from Hedera about scaling carbon markets with public DLTs. Now, the interesting thing about this, and the main thing that I really want to comment on in regards to this, is the scalability of scaling carbon markets. I think that that is great, and when I've talked about DLTs, I've always discussed how big DLTs will essentially get. I think that when we're talking about some use cases for DLTs, we always talk about payments and transactions and this and that, but overall, I think scalability of current markets at the rates of beyond what we've even expected in the next 5 years through something like a DLT, I think that that's the end goal, right? Going from for example, the e-commerce market, right? Scaling the e-commerce market through something like a DLT where we are settling payments in 3 to 5 seconds, allowing a lot more efficient use cases to be allowed through something like a DLT technology in the e-commerce space to, allow a lot more, for example, transactional volume and stuff like that. That's the end goal, right? Scaling markets that nobody really kind of thought about scaling, or, just scaling markets in general, because we always talk about, carbon markets, but we always talk about other things as well. I love to discuss the e-commerce market because you guys already know I'm, really into e-commerce. I run e-commerce brands, and I think that that is a market that is really kind of set to be disrupted by something like a DLT. But carbon markets, again, is a huge market. I've discussed why, and I'm very excited for the future as well. Now, I do want to comment on this. Now, of course, talking about the USDC sort of thing, I understand that we're tired of hearing it, but look at where this is actually coming from. This is coming from Bitcoin News. This is a Twitter account that has 1.8 million followers, and I can't believe I'm not even following them. But hey, it is what it is, right? But this is huge concern, the fact that we are getting a lot more publicity. This comes from 1:33 a.m., roughly about almost 4 hours ago. And, a lot of people are very happy about this. We even see here, there's a few people dropping some, use cases and stuff like that. We even see here what it is to come with, Hbar, Fortune 10 use case, 2 more Fortune 500 use cases, Fpos. Now, I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about Fpos, because Fpos is actually doing some cool things. But before we jump into that, I do want to address this. So we do see here, shout out to Barbarian, some thoughts on Hedera and the Hello future. As Bitcoin rises, interest in crypto will inevitably grow, and more people will dip their toe into crypto-infested waters. Excuse me. If Barbarians are going to attract folk to our stall, we need a strong and plausible narrative continued. Relatability. Most Barbarians believe Hbar or Hedera Hbar, whatever, will one day be bigger than Amazon and Apple. It will spread and wrap around every industry, finance, supply chain, social, payments, etc., just like its namesake, Ivy. We are in the early days of a digital revolution. Urgency. The pressing issue of our time is global warming. Hedera Hashgraph, or Hbar, is the world's most efficient ledger, several orders of magnitude greener than even Visa and Mastercard. Businesses integrating Hedera can significantly reduce inefficiencies in their processes. Longevity, right? Hedera are building a 100-year network. They're planning to be around for a long time, and the founders are clearly only interested in one thing: changing the world. Not financial advice, but for me, Hbar is a slice of Web 3.0, a new numeraire of the new world. And I just want to say right now, when we're talking about this, I've discussed why Hbar is such a big piece of the pie for, the Web 3.0 scene. We are going to be a big piece of that puzzle, and I love the fact that this is, greatly outweighed, or I should say outlied, in the idea of really kind of disrupting these major markets that I've been discussing, right? We go back to the idea of this, right? Yeah, carbon markets, that's cool, but look at all the other markets that we are going to be into, or the industries, finance, supply chain, social, payments, all of that, and there's so many more than just that. We are growing at an exponential rate, not in price, but in development and innovation. Now, we do see here Coinbase and Circle Pay created USDC. Today, they just announced that USDC has launched on Hedera. The other networks that USDC runs on are ALGO, Solana, Tron, Ethereum, and XLM, all of which are listed on Coinbase. I suspect an Hbar listing on Coinbase is on the horizon, and I completely agree with this as well. I think that we could be seeing, a little bit of a overall listing sometime soon. But, we already know that Coinbase doesn't like to list assets until they have already pumped significantly. So, we'd probably have to wait for $1 plus on Hbar before we do get that nice little listing. Now, I do agree with his overall price targets. He's saying 3 to 5 conservatively, 100%. I think that we could be seeing higher, but $3 to $5 or $3 to $6 is a nice little range on Hbar. I've always said that as well, so I completely agree with that. But I also think that we could be seeing a Coinbase listing as well, considering the overall connections with USDCs or USDC and the assets on Coinbase already. Now, we also see here, FYI, DCGCO owns CoinDesk and Grayscale, the world's largest digital currency asset manager, has Hedera Hashgraph in their portfolio. Look for yourself. See if your favorite cryptocurrency company made the list with Hbar. And this is very interesting to see because we actually see here our portfolio. You can actually kind of see all of them, and here's Hedera Hashgraph, and they already see, they're pretty much breaking it down and what it is. And again, all leading back to Grayscale and CoinDesk. I've always said, hey, when is Grayscale going to be, getting into their, or dipping their toes into the Hbar asset and really kind of, allowing that to be on their, data sheet. So I'm waiting for that to be, something that comes to fruition, especially considering the major connections that it has. I mean, this is also a parent company of multiple other companies as well: Genesis Trading, Foundry Services, TradeBlock, Luno Global as well. So there's a lot to kind of go into this. This is major breadcrumbs as well. Now, I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about Fpos. Like I've said, Fpos is such a massive giant. We do see our new Fpos survey shows Australian would prefer a lower merchant fee system over Visa and Mastercard. I don't know why they said Australian. I thought this was like Australians, but it is what it is. This goes back to October 4th, by the way. They are saying they would prefer a lower merchant fee over Visa and Mastercard. Well, what would that be? That would, of course, be Hbar, and we are currently positioned perfectly to allow this to actually happen with Fpos themselves. Now, again, this is a survey, and I'm sure Fpos is probably thinking to themselves, well, what could we do to have cheaper payments than Visa and Mastercard, or even American Express payments? Very simple. Use Hedera Hashgraph. Now, we also see over here crypto technology applications and payments. We're seeing a lot more growth happening with DLT technologies and adoption of blockchain technology, as well as just DLTs in general. We're seeing software, retail networks and services providers, wholesale networks and service providers. This is going to happen at such an exponential rate as we do march forward on in time. Now, this goes back to yesterday. I really wanted to dive into this because when we're talking about crypto adoption, it's not so just in payments itself. It's such a bigger aspect of life than just payments. there is so many other use cases behind crypto than just payments alone. Like we're talking about DeFi, of course, which is decentralized finance, which could lead to payments, of course. But we also talk about even NFTs. We talk about gaming, healthcare. I mean, the world, it's such a great world that we live in that could have so many opportunities for crypto to really kind of be plug and played and disrupt a lot of these major aspects of life. And I think that we're getting close to the idea of, being able to wake up and almost nearly everything that we do on a day-to-day basis will have a connection, or a direct connection, I should say, to crypto itself. Now, of course, we always go back to DLTs because DLTs are starting to become huge, and with DLTs growing in adoption, we also look at the idea of regulation, and the DLT sort of aspect is getting regulated, and the industry's input is essential. Now, of course, we're talking about the massive DeFi and blockchain space here, because we do see here the rise in total value locked across the crypto sphere, which hit $78 billion in August, and the ever multiplying projects involved in the space have led regulators who have previously watched from the sidelines to sit up and take notice of the inevitable expansion and incredible potential of distributed ledger technology. Oh wow, what a big who would have guessed, right? Who would have guessed that DLTs are so big? All of us, right? All of us that have been listening and watching, Hbar grow at such a massive rate, we already knew that, right? But don't take my word for it. Even take Ripple's word for it. They're even saying early blockchain adopters reported nearly twice the growth compared to other financial institutions. Find out why 44% of adopters view this tech as the fuel to business growth in our 2020 blockchain and payments report. Again, when we're talking about this, these adopters who are adopting this, these assets and this technology, they're going to see massive influxes of potential in terms of efficiency. That is why when we're talking about Visa and Mastercard, listen, they want a lower merchant fee over Visa and Mastercard. How do they get there? DLTs, Fpos is already utilizing, Hbar on a day-to-day basis. So why wouldn't they turn to Hedera or a case solver for this entire problem that they're seeing in this survey? And I'm sure this is going to happen because this goes back to October 4th. It's only been 16 days. Give us some time, and I can almost guarantee you that Fpos is going to choose Hedera Hashgraph to lower their merchant fee system over Visa and Mastercard as well as American Express. And this goes way bigger than just transactions alone. This is talking about really kind of reinventing the wheel for, even talking about credit cards and debit cards. Like debit cards and credit card systems, if they were built on something like a DLT, they would prosper into a new age of, one, real-time settlement instead of pre-approved credit and all that kind of stuff, and also efficiency with massive scalability and lower cost fees that not only benefit the people who are using these cards, but also the companies that are issuing these cards as well, because we already know that Visa and Mastercard at scale are actually dishing out a lot more money in cost to get more revenue. So overall, I think that this could be a huge innovation, especially in terms of the debit payment scene. So overall, I'm very excited for the future of Hedera Hashgraph and DLT technologies alike. I'm so pro crypto at this point. I believe in crypto at such a massive rate. I always tell everybody about crypto. Guys, if you're in this crypto scene, drop down in the comments why you personally believe in crypto. Also hit that like button, subscribe, and turn notifications on if you guys did enjoy this video. But with that being said, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are on this video. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.